Good morning, everyone. I'm Jeannie Toma, the Infant Toddler Coordinator here at ECLC, and we're glad you've joined us. This morning, we have Avril Mills, the Professional Development Coordinator with NACE, who will be leading us through a webinar about the IT Credential. The Infant Toddler Care and Education Credential of New York State is designed to provide for and be recognized as standard by which to measure an individual's competence in the following topic areas: infant and toddler development, observation and recording, environment and curriculum, and family and culture. And with that, I'd like to introduce you to Avril. Thanks for being here, Avril.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, everybody, and I'm excited. This is our first webinar on this credential. And just to be as transparent as possible, this is one of our least obtained credentials in the state. However, I think it's a really important credential. As we go through the slides, I hope that you'll feel the exact same way. We currently have about 28 people in the state of New York that hold this credential. And we don't have anybody currently in process for this credential. And I feel like Jeannie gave a nice introduction to me. You all know who I am now, and about what the purpose of this credential is to do. So as Jeannie said, this credential is meant to formally recognize practitioners who display specialized knowledge of infant and toddler development in partnership with caregivers, families, and the children in their care. So it's really specific to teachers working with infants and toddlers. This credential is specifically designed for individuals who have really gone to college and taken a bunch of courses, but never matriculated potentially into a degree program or never finished a degree program, but they're working in care. So that was the initial intent for the purpose of this credential. So you'll see on this slide, we talk about the experience that they have and coursework that they've taken. But specifically, what we're looking for is college credit-bearing coursework, a total of 12 credits from a nationally accredited college that cover all the competencies outlined in this credential. So we'll get to the competency pages in just a couple of slides. So the first thing that, the first topic area within the competencies that we're looking at are infant and toddler development. So we're looking at the theories and current research around infant and toddler development, social and emotional and creative development, and physical, cognitive, language, and literacy development in this specific topic area. Within this, there's different bullets under each specific competency area. All of that information can be found on the New York AEYC website. What we're looking for when we're looking at the competencies is that the coursework covers the entire topic area. So the way that most of the colleges have developed their coursework that have done it in partnership with us, and we have 4 or 5 colleges that do that, they've outlined their coursework based on these competencies, and that alignment is given to participants ahead of time. For topic 2, we're looking at family and culture. So specifically within these competencies, they're speaking to the family, attachment and separation, as well as early intervention. So really ensuring that our teachers working with our youngest children are making those family connections, are providing those attachments with children, and know the early intervention process and how to obtain services for those children in the event that they need it. Topic 3 is environment and curriculum. So here's where we get into health and safety. So this is where the regulations kind of come into play in this particular content, and also with environment and curriculum. This would meet regulatory requirements around that as well. All of this coursework would be able to count towards their professional development hours for OCFS training. But again, it is a credit-bearing credential. So most of these courses, as they're written within the institutions of higher learning, they're anywhere from 3 to 6 credits, depending on the institution of higher learning. So for instance, we do work with Empire State College, and they have some courses written, and some of those courses are 6 credits in length. Where with Cayuga College, all of their coursework is between 3 and 4 credits. So as you know, when you're taking college credit coursework, it's a significant number of hours to be put into that. So, but it can all be counted towards their OCFS training topic areas. And the final topic, topic 4, is assessment and evaluation. So this is really getting into that observation and recording, ensuring that they're able to do objective observations, how they do record keeping. It also gets into program management, organization of their classroom, and then their personal professionalism. And part of this credential is them doing a future professional development planning plan for themselves so that they're able to move forward in their position. And our hope is always that when individuals have these credits and didn't matriculate into a formal program, that when they hold the credential, they're going to feel a little bit more empowered to go on and go back to college and complete a degree program and move through the process. I mean, and I think that this kind of ties into a lot with power to the profession. So moving people into those degree programs and ensuring that we have individuals sitting in positions that hold not only the experience, but also the education. So having that theory and knowledge behind them on why they're doing and what the purpose of what they're doing is important. So the steps to obtaining the credential is to create an Aspire profile, and they have to maintain a current Aspire profile. I do have a slide in here. I know that all of you are probably very familiar with Aspire, but just in knowing that this might be shared with others, as we go through slides, we're going to have a slide that speaks specifically about the Aspire process. There is a candidacy application that you can link to through the New York AEYC website. So that is an online application process. What we're looking for with that online application is that the credits have been completed, they've uploaded their copy of their official transcripts, and there's some attestations within that application that we're asking for former employers or current employers to speak to their experience working in an infant toddler classroom. Then there is the portfolio submission. So currently that is a mailed in portfolio submission. We're working on making that digital. I will hope to have that digital probably by the end of next month. So again, this is going to be a system in which they can choose 4 different avenues to submit the statement on each one of the competencies and how they met them. And we'll get into those 4 different potential for submission as we move forward. The final 2 processes for this credential is the portfolio scoring, which happens with 2 independent reviewers who have no connection to the candidate, and then the notification of whether the credential was awarded or deferred. So once it's awarded, this credential never expires because it is credit bearing, and credit bearing coursework does not expire. This credential also does not expire. If the credential is deferred, the candidate is provided with specific information on why the deferral occurred, and they'll be given another opportunity within 90 days to resubmit their portfolios and meet those and fill in those gaps that were missing. So important things to know about obtaining the infant toddler credential. So this introduces many times candidates into the world of higher education. Again, the credits never expired, but they can be articulated into a degree program. So when you're working with people in the field who have credits in infant toddler, specific to infant toddler care, it gives you all the opportunity to provide that extra support. Well, here's a credential that you can articulate this into. The credential is in regulation. It does help them meet the qualifications for head teacher. It's also an EIP eligible credential. So the credential fees are EIP eligible, but also the coursework fees are EIP eligible. With the credential fees, it's similar to like a CDA assessment fee. So they're able to apply and not have to worry about the income guidelines, I believe, for that assessment fee. For the coursework fees, they need to meet those eligibility requirements. So completing an Aspire profile is a very quick process. It takes about 15 minutes. And on this slide, I just laid out the quick down and dirty on what needs to be done for an individual who does not have an Aspire profile. So these are nice, clean instructions. So if you have somebody who's never been on Aspire, has no idea what Aspire is about, this slide kind of gives you the easy, most direct way to go about creating the Aspire profile. Once they complete their online application, they do need to send their supporting documentation to the registry. They're going for this credential, they need to ensure that they have included their transcripts. So they don't want to choose, there's that option within the Aspire profile to click the button that says, I'm not going to send my documentation, which means your profile pretty much just goes into holding. There's nothing ever verified within the profile. So we want to make sure that people are sending in their documentation, or if they're actually uploading it now. And the process within Aspire is moving much more quickly now. You think we are running between that 6 and 8 week timeline for individuals who work in direct care. For those people who are trainers, they are streamlined. So their process, if they're a trainer, they move through the process in about 2 weeks now. So in completing the infant toddler candidacy application, I put the form stack link in this, and I am going to try to click on it and see if it shows up for everybody, which I don't think it will. So let me just share that part of my screen. Can you see it now? Sorry. So here's the infant toddler credential application. It's pretty easy and straightforward. This is we've been moving more into the form stack world for quicker processing. So it really walks the candidate through each area that the old paper application gave them to do. There's the education part of it, the experience attestation. And in this experience attestation, they will need their supervisor to sign off on it. So it's something that they can start and then bring to their supervisor, open the screen, and have them sign off on it with their, and it's a digital signature. It does ask the candidate themselves to go through their coursework and decide what courses speak to each competency section. So the coursework is broken out by the theories and current research around infant toddler development, social emotional creative development, and physical cognitive language and literacy development. So for each topic area, those 3 areas are broken out, and they're asked to identify which coursework met those areas. The primary reason we know this internally with the courses from most of the colleges, but our purpose is to see that the candidate understands the coursework that they took and where it falls within the competencies, because that's an important part to their own professionalism. So that's why the application is broken out this way. So I'll scroll through that area quickly. And then finally is the application attestation. So in here, they're able to either choose their method of payment, which is they're going to pay with a credit card, mail in a check, or send in an EIP award. And with that, as they choose each of those options, it walks them through the next steps of what they would need to do. Now I'm going to go. Okay, so I just want to make sure you're seeing the slideshow again. Yes, okay. I just need to. So just a quick show of what the portfolio structure currently looks like. And this will all go into a form stack as well. But we're looking for an introduction, so them to really describe their personal experience within their education coursework. and experience in the classroom. Then there's the formal documentation of their experience, which is their resume, any field work. So for instance, if an individual has coursework and they actually haven't worked in an infant toddler classroom, there is some field work paperwork that they would need to fill out to show proof of their 480 hours of documented experience in the classroom. So that would go into this section. Then we're looking for professional recommendations. One of those is a professional observation. Typically that does come from the director of the program. And then we're looking for 2 letters from families that they've directly provided care for. The demonstration of competency for the topic areas can be done in one of 4 ways. Our most common ways, I will say, are the photo journal and the essay. So when I look back at past portfolios that have been turned in and the portfolios that have come in since I started my position 8 years ago, those are the only 2 ways that typically people have submitted. I think more and more nowadays we might see those video entries because people have their phones on them. They're able to capture those competencies in action with their phones. And the form stack does allow them to upload videos to it. I think the ethical dilemmas is probably the hardest part for any individuals. I think even as we see this even with our PD providers, like thinking about those ethical dilemmas and how to deal with those. In all honesty, we haven't had any candidates put in for, sorry, my computer wants to shut down, with the ethical dilemma, but I think it's something to always think about. And then finally, they put in their professional development plan. So they're thinking about their future, their career goals, their educational plan, action steps, and goal setting. So we're looking for short-term goals, long-term goals, and how they're going to meet those goals. Our future plan for this is to have that personal professional development plan feed into their Aspire profile so that they can mark it off as they go through. And that's kind of the way we see things going all the way through with all of our credentials. When people are creating these professional development plans, they're in their Aspire profiles so that when they take a training or it automatically goes, or they move up in their career goals, or it speaks directly to that professional development plan and checks those goals off for them. And then the final thing that I'll talk about here quickly is the review process. So the candidate sends 2 copies of their portfolio currently. So again, it's a hard copy binder. And this is only for a little bit longer and we'll be going digital. The credential review fee is $300 for this particular credential. When portfolios are received here at the state office, we really only check them for completeness. We do not read them. At that point, once we see that every section of the portfolio is complete, we mail them out to 2 independent reviewers across the state who have no connection to the candidate. They use a portfolio scoring tool, a scoring rubric, which is public and it's on our website. And when we receive those 2 scores back, they go in front of the Credential Review Committee to ensure that there is reviewer reliability. And at that point, the decision is made whether the credential will be awarded or deferred. Again, if a deferral is made, they are given specific areas and recommendations on how to improve the portfolio and 90 days to resubmit that portfolio. With an award, they receive their award certification with the credential. It's added to their Aspire profile. They can send that into Aspire and have it added to their Aspire profile. Again, this credential does not expire. And now, I'm looking, we've got 10 minutes for questions. So I will take any questions, and I did see that there were some comments in the chat box. So it says so in the application, it does ask for a course syllabus to be submitted. So again, it's not always needed. We're looking into, we put that in there for coursework really with college courses that aren't affiliated with us, so that where we don't have the syllabus. So there's certain colleges that we are aware of. So Empire State College we have all of their coursework. Cayuga College, we have their coursework. Hudson Valley Community College, we have their coursework. And Cobleskill, we have their coursework. So we don't need the syllabuses for those particular colleges, but we would for any others.
So should we just tell them to submit it in case?
If they have, yes. Yeah. I mean, I think
You just go online and get a syllabus, like?
Yeah, I think it depends on when the coursework was taken for how far back that they can go. I mean, Empire has had the same coursework written for this credential for since they haven't changed it with us. So since the beginning of time, we are able to do some legwork there too sometimes. So it's always something that will help candidates work through. And we don't have a huge uptake on this credential, so it's something that we have a little bit more flexibility to kind of help candidates with.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. I had a question that would the coursework from CDA count for this, or does it have to be accredited coursework? It does have to be accredited coursework from an accredited institution of higher learning. It does not have to be a New York State college, though. It can be any nationally accredited college.
Avril, is there any additional cost associated with a deferred application, or if they get it within the 90 days, it's all covered in that initial fee?
Nope. So they do have to pay an additional $200 to cover that review fee.
Okay.
Reviewers do get a stipend for reviewing.
Okay, thanks for that clarification.
With a deferral, I don't believe that EIP will cover that $200 either.
Okay, so what are some things that would cause it to be deferred, like an incomplete application or?
No, so the application is already completed before they submit it. So it would be them not meeting the scoring rubric. So they've missed specific key speaking points within their writing or their photo journal. So they just want to make sure that they're using that scoring rubric and scoring themselves prior to sending it in to ensure that they've met all of the competencies.
So in the
it's a pretty straightforward and easy process. So if they take the coursework from Cayuga College or Empire State College, they actually come out with their portfolios done. We've never had a candidate from either of those colleges deferred.
Okay, cool.
And we've only actually had one deferral for all of this credential. So
Maybe I missed it. Did we go over the rubric? Like, is it in there?
I did not show the rubric. I can pull that up though.
Or like when we start the coursework, we'd get the rubric so everyone would know? Okay.
So it's it's on our website. It's public domain, the rubric for the credential. So I think the way that we see the role of the CCR in ours potentially is you're working with a teacher who probably has coursework, so helping them kind of finish that portfolio process. That can be done both through coaching and through ITA. So that there's a couple of different ways that you all can utilize the funds available out there for yourselves to go through that. I wouldn't see it as a group training option, just because I don't think you're ever really going to have more than one person potentially at a time that's looking to get this credential. I'm just pulling up the portfolio scoring tool right now. So it's a pretty straightforward process. They fall into three areas, and it's for each. So the photo, it goes into each one that they could do.
Nice.
So
it does look very detailed.
It's very detailed, and I think that helps because it tells people what the expectation is, so it's easier to complete it.
Absolutely.
So it's a lot more detailed maybe than some of our other credentials, but I think that's because we know we're working with individuals who are not as matriculated into the higher ed setting, and we want to make it attainable for them.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any additional questions?
Any other questions for Avril today? Okay. Avril, thank you so much for being with us today to share this. This was fantastic.
Yes, it is.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for all participating, and let me know if you have any specific questions as you're working with any candidates. You know, we hope to see some uptake with this. The other thing that I am working on right now, just so you're all aware, is aligning it with the CDA standards so that in the event that they're able to articulate that CDA into a credit-bearing CDA, we can show them where their gaps are and where they need to get additional credits.
Great. And as that becomes available, we can post that alongside this. That would be wonderful.
Yes, and that will go up on our website. It should be something I can fairly quickly do because we've done the comparison with the infant toddler mental health endorsement for this credential and with CDA. So I was going to just kind of come and move them together. So
sounds great. All right. Well, thank you again.
Thank you all.
It was wonderfully informative, and we appreciate everyone joining us. Good to have you here.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.